Hello and welcome on Thomas Geiger Car. Today with another electric vehicle that is ready to shake up the market. After Tesla has proven that the idea and the future of the vehicle might be in new hands, this company is teaming up and trying to conquer Mercedes, Porsche, Audi and all the other old world dinosaurs as well. If you want to know what to expect from this luxury vehicle that competes with a Tesla Model S, a Mercedes EQS and a Porsche Taycan, join me on my first test drive and I'll tell you more about it. The chief engineer of the Lucid Air was Peter Rawlinson, nothing less than the head of the development of the Model S in his past. And the Lucid Air is something like a do-over. So if you can start over again and make it proper, what would it look like? Like this would be Peter Rawlinson's answer. But Peter was not only working for Tesla in its past, he was also working for Lotus, and that influenced the Lucid Air as well. Because the car rides and drives like a luxury limousine, comparable with a Mercedes S-Class whilst you're on the highway. And once you change to the byways and going on a twisty mountain road, the car should feel almost as nimble and agile as a Lotus Elise. Not sure if it matches that good to the driving dynamics, but that's something we're gonna figure out in a minute. The Lucid Air is powered by a motor that is developed and produced in-house, and it's one of the most compact and the most lightest electric motors on the market. It weighs just 74 kilos and is not much bigger than a small keg of beer that you can buy in the supermarket for your next party. That does not mean it is not powerful. The opposite is the fact. Up to 650 horsepower can be generated out of one motor. We're sitting here in the Dream Edition with two of these motors, summing up to 1,111 horsepower. That is a figure that you're used from supercars and not from luxury limousines. The base model, though, will only have one motor that is mounted in the back, and that will provide about 480 horsepower when it comes to the market towards the end of the year. As wide as the range of power is the range for the price. The base model starts at about $78,000. The top model costs $179,000. That's quite a lot of money, but if you compare it with the German competitors like the Taycan or the EQS, the Lucid Air looks pretty much like a bargain. Leaving the highway, heading for the byways and climbing the canyons behind the Pacific coast, the car changes its character on the push of a button. We have the smooth mode, we have the swift mode, and we have the sprint mode that unlocks all the power once you confirmed that you're ready for the experience. The steering is getting a bit heavier, the suspension is getting stiffer, the car is like an athlete ready to race. And racing is a good point if you have more than 1,000 horsepower. Still, there are some traffic laws that we have to obey, but the car feels much more aggressive and much more agile. Definitely not a Lotus in a luxury suit, but more agile, for example, than the Mercedes EQS, even in its AMG trim. I would say it's pretty close on the Porsche side, and once the road is clear, maybe even a bit beyond the Porsche Taycan. But since we can't really speed, we'll just brake a little. There are two regen modes, a smoother one and a stronger one, and we let the other cars go ahead a little, and then we'll see what happens when we floor the pedal. Not really gonna floor it, because 0 to 100 should be done in less than 3 seconds, so we need lots of room in front of the car, but we're gonna push it at least a little and see what's going on there. There's a long straight coming up, and we'll just try and see. Are you ready? Just braking again a bit to get some room between us and the car in front of us. One more corner. No car behind us, so we can even stop for a second. And now 1, 2, 3, go! That is pretty impressive. That is way more than you get in a Mercedes EQS and feels pretty much like a sports car. I would say the Lucid Air is closer on the Porsche Taycan side than on the Mercedes EQS, and if the road would be free, it might be even above and beyond that. What I really like about the Lucid is the way the car is operated. Yes, I have lots of touchscreens, and some of the functions can only be accessed by the touchscreen. For example, the adjustment of the mirror, the steering wheel, or the opening of the trunk and the frunk. But for some main functions, I still have some hard keys. I can adjust the temperature, the vent, and the volume by hand by touching a real button, and that also feels pretty good. This is something I really like a lot. The interior of the Lucid is pretty spectacular to me, and it is totally different than we know it from its competitors. While the Porsche Taycan is pretty techy, the Mercedes EQS with its hyperscreen is very flashy, almost looks like a toy car, and the Tesla is pretty naked. Here we have a beautiful combination of traditional craftsmanship and new technology. I really like that floating big screen behind the wheel with two touch screens left and right and one big screen for the main informations and that tablet that sits above the center tunnel. Additionally to that, we have lots of storage capacity for all the small details you might use in your car. Cup holders, tissue boxes, handbags, lots of room. And we have a great visibility. The car is called Air by a reason. It feels pretty airy inside, mainly due to the windscreen that goes over into the sunroof. There is just nothing that blocks your view, and to prevent overheating, you can even tilt and tint the glasses by the touch of a button on the side, and the topper roof is already tinted by the manufacturer. The design of the Lucid Air is all about efficiency and all about drag coefficient. It is a streamlined four-door coupe or a limousine with very small overhangs to offer you most of the interior space and to give as little resistance to the air as possible. Drag coefficient is 0.21. It's almost as good as the Mercedes EQS, which holds the world record with its 0.20, but looking much better as the Mercedes, looking more like a proper car. Thanks for joining me on that first ride with the new Lucid Air, a car that has definitely the potential to shake up the market for premium electric vehicles. It looks better and fresher than the Tesla Model S. It offers more room and almost as much luxury as a Mercedes EQS, and it drives at least as good as a Porsche Taycan or an Audi e-tron GT. The only problem is it's only sold in the US for now. Later that year, this car will go overseas, will come to Europe and most definitely to China as well. And then the established companies better look in their rearview mirror to see this car hitting their back and trying to push them aside. And also, Mr. Elon Musk, you better take care you're not the only new one on the electric avenue anymore.